A few months back, I did a couple of videos talking about who I wanted to see in the X-Men movies whenever the Marvel Cinematic Universe finally came out with them, and who I would like to see in their starring roles. It was a pretty popular video. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed conversing with everybody. Actually, I gave away a comic book for it. And it was something that I wanted to do for the Fantastic Four, except there's only really 4 of them, and there were 2 casting choices that I couldn't top. Everybody's saying them, and I'm like, that's perfect. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. So, who could I do a casting of? Victor Von Doom. Arguably one of the greatest villains in the Marvel Comics history. Dr. Doom is nobody to mess with, and instead of picking one actor that I think could pull off Dr. Doom in magnificent fashion, I have a top 10 list of people who I think could do Dr. Doom justice, and we're about to get started on this list right now. Before we start on this top 10 list, I want to thank you guys for clicking on the video. It means a whole lot to me. If you're interested in this sort of thing, or even comic book movie reviews, TV show reviews, click that subscribe button. And if you want to know as soon as anything gets uploaded, hit that notification bell. You'll be the first to know when that new video pops. I want Dr. Doom to be the next big bad in the same way that Thanos was the first big bad of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for like 3 phases. I want Doom to be the big bad for at least 2 of those phases. I don't even want him to be the first villain that the Avengers, the new Avengers, come up against. I actually want Kang the Conqueror to be the first Avengers villain post Thanos, but I want Dr. Doom to be that huge, gigantic event in the same way that Thanos was for Endgame. So we want to make sure that we have a good enough pool to pull from to get it right. So these are my top 10 choices on who I think could pull off a very convincing Victor Von Doom. Number 10, Jemaine Clement. What? Jemaine Clement. Actually, he's mysterious enough, and he's got a nice accent that could probably work with Doom. Plus, this isn't the first time that he had been a bad guy before. He was the voice of Nigel in Rio, and he was also the bad guy in Men in Black 3 as Boris the Animal. I don't think he's the best choice, which is why he's in the 10 spot. But I think it's interesting, and I wanted to give you guys a few curveballs on this list. Number 9, Willem Dafoe. We all know Willem Dafoe. He was the Green Goblin in the very first Spider-Man movie. And I think he still has another great bad guy under his belt. Although I think his age plays a little bit of a negative in that casting choice. Plus, with his success as playing Vulko in Aquaman, I don't think that he would be able to do both jobs, probably because of contractual differences. But I think it's an interesting choice. Interesting enough that I put him on this list. Number 8. Christoph Waltz. Again, this is a choice of somebody who has played some bad guys before, and he's been in a comic book movie if you count manga, because he was in Alita earlier this year. I think he could do a very awesome bad guy. We've seen him play awesome bad guys in Inglourious Bastards. We saw him play a pretty good bad guy in James Bond Spectre. Could he pull off a Doom? I think he could pull off a pretty good Doom, just not the best Doom. Number 7, Eric Bana. A little bit of an unconventional choice again, as we've seen Eric Bana play the very first Hulk in Ang Lee's version. But we have seen him play an evil Romulan in the first rebooted Star Trek, and I think he did a pretty good job conveying a sinister aspect to it. He does have a pretty nice stature to him, not too large, but I think he's big enough to where he could be imposing if needed be. Like I said, not my first choice, but I like the guy, and I think he could do Doom all right. Number 6, Keanu Reeves. Yes, he's the largest buzz in Hollywood right now, and Kevin has been talking with Keanu to try to get him into the cinematic universe. Could this be the spot where we see Keanu make his biggest stamp so far? I mean, look at all of the things that he's done. Bill and Ted, The Matrix, John Wick, and then to put the icing on the cake, Victor Von Doom? Could it be? I'm not sure. It would have to be a slightly different interpretation if you're going to go with Keanu. But it's not the worst choice on this list. I think it might be something to look out for. Number 5, Jon Hamm. Once again, we're dealing with somebody who has made their name almost as an A-lister from Mad Men, and we haven't seen an introduction by him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This could be a possible huge break for his career, as well as a great actor in the role of Victor. He makes the halfway point on this list, but I think he's better than halfway as far as if he could do Doctor Doom the best possible way. Number 4, Ralph Fiennes. Okay, so this is very stereotypical. We've seen Ralph do bad guys before. Most notably, we've seen him play He Who Shall Not Be Named in the entire, well, except for the first movie, entire Harry Potter franchise. So could Voldemort come in and pull out the best Latvian dictator of all time? Well, I mean, considering the other two, yeah. But I think it's almost too stereotypical, but it's not so stereotypical that I couldn't put him on this list. And in all honesty, because of how he's done bad guys before in the past, he ranks up, baby. Number 3, Michael Fassbender. If we're not gonna take the casting that we had before in the X-Men franchise when Fox did it, let's find some new homes for these guys. And in this case, Michael Fassbender, who played Magneto over the last pretty much 10 years of the X-Men franchise, give him a bigger role. Give him a more dastardly role. And Doctor Doom would easily be 100% a great character for him to really sink his teeth into. I would love to see Michael Fassbender's Doctor Doom. I just want to see 2 other guys more. Number 2, Rami Malek. I think he looks the part. I know he can act the part. I think it would be a beautiful choice to have Rami play Victor Von Doom. He looks like he could be Latvian. Mr. Robot, Bohemian Rhapsody. Do I have to say anything else? Not really. In fact, Rami is actually my number 1 live action choice, which doesn't make sense because he lands at number 2 on my list. So who lands at number 1? Mark Hamill. Totally blows the age range, doesn't look the part at all. So why choose Mark Hamill? I'll tell you why. One question: who is the greatest movie villain of all time? There's several that are going to be in the conversation, but in my opinion, the number 1 movie villain, Darth Vader. And I don't know who played Darth Vader as far as the actor, but I know James Earl Jones did that voice. And if we want to embody the sinister, the evil, the malevolent nature of Doctor Doom, we can use the blueprint done by Star Wars and have an actor act out the roles, but then have somebody with a voice that could really pull Doctor Doom off. And who better to pull off the voice of Doctor Doom than somebody who is number 1, an A-lister, number 2, a very much experienced voice actor, and number 3, somebody who probably has love for the character already. Mark Hamill fits all 3 of those roles. If you didn't know Mark did the Joker, you need to go watch some of my other videos right up here where I talk about how great Mark Hamill is in Joker roles. But not a conventional choice, I know. Like I said, Rami Malek is my number 1 live action choice. But if they want to go that Darth Vader route, you better call my man Mark Hamill. So that's my top 10 list of who I think should be cast as Doctor Doom in the MCU. Let me know who you think should be cast in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends. And as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.